Have you ever tried to create a website portfolio and you end up creating the worst portfolio ever? I know my first portfolio website sucks. Even the second one sucks as well. It was frustrating, and I know most of you guys are in that position right now. If you're just getting started into web development, you certainly don't have enough skills to create your own dream portfolio. That is why in this video we are going to be creating a modern portfolio website from scratch using HTML, CSS and some JavaScript. This video is the first in the series of building a responsive personal portfolio website from scratch. This portfolio contains 5 pages: the home page, about, services, project and the contact page. By the end of this series, you have your own personal portfolio website, get a free domain name, upload it to a server using Netlify for free, and collect your contact messages with Netlify. So this is not a series you should miss. So guys, without any further ado, let's just jump into the tutorial and get started. Alright guys, first of all, we have to create a folder that we're going to use in this tutorial. So I'll just create a folder on my desktop right here. I'll give it a name, John Patrick. Okay, John Patrick portfolio. I want that to be portfolio. Alright, and I'll open this using VS Code. Let me just drag this. Come on guys, let me drag this right here. Alright, let's take away that. And the next thing I want to do, I want to create a folder for the HTML. Also the folder for CSS. And I'm going to create a folder for JS, which is for the JavaScript. And I'm going to create a folder for we're going to create a folder for doc, which is the document files. And after that, I'll create the HTML file, which is that will be index.html. So that is our main page, our home page. That will be the home page. So in the CSS, I'm going to create a file called styles.css. Alright, this is all we need for now to start our coding, but we have to include the images folder, which will be images. The images folder will include the images itself. So let me just take this, I'll just drag this here, drag the folder here, I'll open that. Okay, let me bring this right here, the images, and I'll copy the images that we're going to be using in this tutorial. Come on guys, let me just copy this and I'll paste it right here. So these are the images we're going to be using in this tutorial, as you can see. But all these will be linked in the description below guys, so you can just go to the description below and download that for you to start this tutorial, because I might not be putting all code in the description. So you want to download the starter file so you can just code along with me and get your website ready, your portfolio, so you can get your portfolio ready and upload it to the internet for free, the way we're going to do in this video. So because as I said earlier, we're going to upload this website, this portfolio website, to the internet for free with a free domain name, and we're going to collect our contact forms using Netlify for free as well. So if you're a beginner as a web developer and you think, okay, I don't have enough skills for me to create a backend for myself, receive my contacts, So don't worry, I got you covered in this video. We're going to be doing all this from scratch and everything will be free. So let's just get started, guys, because the first thing we want to do, get started with the HTML, and then we go to the CSS. But let me just come, guys, just open this right here. So the first thing we are going to create are HTML, and then we go to the CSS. But now what I want to do is that I want to go to Figma. Alright guys, this is the design we're going to be creating in this tutorial. So this will be the desktop version, and this will be the mobile version. But first we're going to go for the desktop version. So first we want to create this navigation menu. We want to create a navigation menu right here, as you can see. Here's the navigation menu. We have the image. We have the text, the list items. So first we want to create the navigation menu, all this, and then we're going to create a hero section right here. So first I'm going to use the VS Code shortcut to create the head. So to just be exclamation enter. So VS Code just generate this text for us to start with. So I'm going to change the title to John Patrick portfolio. Oh, sorry for that. So that is it. So the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to link to our CSS. So we're going to use the link tag. So that will be the href will be style, let's say HTML, CSS /style.css. So after that, then we will start creating the header right here. We start creating the header. First thing, I will wrap this up with the header tag. So I have the header. After that, I want to use a div with a container class. So I'll just say container, just a shortcut to create a div if you're using VS Code. So just container. In the container, I want to create a menu. I will use a menu tag. So we use the menu tag to create the old menu, the image, and the list item. So that will be menu with a class of grade, because this will be a grade. So in that, I want to create we want to include the image first. So the image is a link. So we're going to use the a tag with a class of logo, and the ID. We're going to use the ID of logo as well. So we say logo. So the href will link to anywhere, so I'm just going to use the hash sign right there. So in the a tag, I want to use the image tag. So I'll just say img. So for the source will be images /logo. So let me just show that to you really quickly. So this is the image file. So for the directory, we went to images, which is this, and then we say /logo.png. this is the logo. Okay, this is the logo.png. Let me open that up. Okay, this is it, kind of big. We're going to resize that in the browser. So let me just save this up and close this sidebar. I'll open this using the live server in VS Code. So this is opened up. This is all we've created. This is the image, which is the logo. So let's go on the days, and now I want to create a list item, which is this. So I'll just go underneath the image, the logo. So I'm going to use the nav tag. In the nav tag, I'm going to nest a URL which is on all the list. In that, I'm going to use an li, which is list item, and an a tag. So for the href, for now, we won't link it to anywhere. So that will be empty. That will be, we're going to use the hash sign for that. So in the a tag, we want to write the menus wire, which is the nav list. We want to write that. The first one will be about me. So in the a tag, I'm just going to write the about me right there. I don't know, maybe that is capital letter. Okay, that is capital letter. I just change that to capital letter directly without using the CSS. So it will be about me. Then I'm going to copy this. Oh, sorry. I'm going to copy this. I'll paste it. Paste it. So I'll change this. That will have services, project, and contacts. So this will be services, projects, so that is all for the list items. So I want to write a code for the hamburger. As you can see on the mobile version, we have this hamburger right here that contains our list, our nav item. So I'll just include that under this a tag. So for the hamburger, we're going to be using a label. So the for will be toggle. So this will target our input. So in the toggle, let me just save this. So this is what we've created so far. In the toggle, in the label tag, we want to include the hamburger. We are going to be using the hamburger. Most people use images for this. Some use fonts. Yeah, but we're going to be using the HTML entity for this. We're going to be using the HTML entity. So if you want to get the HTML entity, you can just go to this site. Okay, so you can come to this website for your icons like HTML entities, HTML characters. You can just come to this website to get the symbols. So the name of this website is TopTal. I don't know, it is called toptal.com. So you can just search for it, and we're going to look for the hamburger icon. This is it right here. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to copy the HTML code. We just copy that and go to our HTML. I'll paste that right here. So I'm going to save that, and I'll leave here. So as you can see, we have the hamburger icon right here. So under the label, want to include our input. So for the text, that will be checkbox. For the type, rather, that will be checkbox. And for the name, can just include Togo. We don't really need the name, but let me just include Togo. For the ID that we need, we're going to include Togo for that as well. For this, we'll target this right here. So let's just save that. And this is all we have so far. So guys, after this, we want to go to the CSS to create our global styling. So I'm going to comment this out. This will be global styling. So that will be global. So I want that to be styling. So after that, you want to import our font, the font we're going to be using from Google Font. So for the font, we're going to be using Open Sans. Open Sans. So I'm just going to choose the 400. Alright, and I'll go back to Google Fonts. I'll search for Roboto. So we have Roboto right here. I'll just choose the regular 400 as well. The regular 400. I'll just select this. And I'll go back. And then I'm going to choose the Roboto slab. And I'll choose the regular 400 as well for that. Select. Then I'll click the import. And I'll select these. Copy it. And come to our CSS. And I'll paste it right here. So this is the font we're going to be using. So guys, I'm just going to change the view. I'll wrap this up so you guys can see it. So anyways guys, I'm just going to close the font. Awesome. The Google font rather. Sorry for that. So I'll go underneath this and I'll style the whole page using the asterisk sign. So that I want everything to be box sizing. So I'll just say box sizing. I want that to be border box. So on this I want this to be border box. Okay, box sizing rather. So I'll just go underneath this for the WebKit. So that will be border box. And for Mozilla, I'm just going to use the M. So just say Moz box sizing. Box sizing. I want that to be border box as well. So this is for the old site. For the old website, we want it to be border box. So I'll just go underneath this and I'll start a body. So for the body, we want to choose the font family for that, and the font family will be Open Sans. Open Sans and sans serif. So we'll go underneath this. For the margin will be 0 auto. So top and bottom 0. Oh sorry, the margin will be 0 for the body. It is the container that we're going to add the auto to. So for the padding as well will be 0. and the weight will be 100%. We're going to include a background color to this, so let me just leave it empty because it is a gradient background color. But first, let us come in. This is Ital. Nope, I don't want this to be italic. Okay, we've choose the wrong font, so I choose the italic for the open sense. So I'm just going to clear this up and I'll save that. Let's press change. Okay, now it's okay. So I want to create a variable for our font, for our colors, so we can use them in the code. So we want to create a variable for the colors right now. So for the variable, I'm going to be using the roots. So in that, we're going to be creating some colors, kind of a lot. So because of that, I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to paste that right here. I'm going to save it. So that's our color. Nothing's happened yet. So we want to change the background of our home page. We want it to be a gradient. So we're going to use the linear gradient. Let's say linear gradient. And I want this to be to the right. I want it to be to the right. And the first color will be F7 FFFE. So that will be 0% from the right, from the left rather. So then the next color will be a variable. We're going to be using the variable, so that will be BG, which is the background color. So right here, that's the BG will be 80% of the gradient. So let's see, can we see the difference right now? Okay, not much. There's not a lot of difference, so you can't really see the difference, but the difference is there. This is kind of light, while this is the white part is kind of dark, as you can see, guys. So the next thing I want to do after the background, I want to style the font. So I'll start with the H1. So for the H1, I want to change the font size. The font size will be 3.5 EM. The font weight, that will be 700. And the font family, that will be Roboto. Slab, that will be Roboto Slab. So, and we're going to be using the sans serif. So after that, we want to change the color for the H1. The color, we're going to be using the variable, and that will be the charcoal. Rather, I wanted to say chocolate, guys. It seems I'm hungry, right? All right, guys. So the next, we're going to start the margin. I want the margin to be 0. I want to remove every margin from the H1. Every margin it has, I want to remove that. That will be 0. Okay, guys. Let me just copy this, and then I'll paste it right here. I'll change this to H2, and for the font size of the H2, want to leave it 2.5. Okay, H2 2.5. Okay guys, let's change the H1 to 4.5, 700, and we're going to leave everything the same except the margin. This will be margin top instead of just margin. So for the H3, I'm just going to paste the H1 right here and change it to H3. For the font size will be 1.8. So I'm going to change this to 1.8 EM. So for the font weight, this will be 600, and everything remains the same. Just we're going to remove the margin 0, and I'll copy this and just paste it underneath here, and this will be the H4, I guess. Okay, for the H4, the font size will be 0.9, or you can just use 0.9 instead. So for that, okay, for the H4, sorry guys, it will be 1.1, and the font weight will be the same. For the font family, I'm going to remove this, and the color remains the same. So I'm just going to copy the H4, and I'll paste it here for the H5. I don't know what is wrong with me. I use the font to the H5, which most people don't do. I don't think so. Some people just use like H1, H2, and they just change the font along the way, but I don't like that. I just like styling everything, every good book styling. I do that at once. So whenever I'm using the font, I don't really like writing a lot of code to style my font again, because I've already done that in the global styling. So that is why it's good to have a global styling in which you don't reuse stuff every time. So you just want to name them and style them at once. So for the H5, we're going to be changing the days to 0.9 or 0.9, and the font weight will be 600, and the font color still the same. Okay, so that is the styling for the H series. So for the P tag now, so we want the font size to be 16 pixels, and for the color we want that to be the var white, I think. Okay, not white, not white guys, it will be text. So it will be the text color. So underneath that, I want to change the line height. Okay, let me just close these. For the line height, I want this to be 30 pixels. Alright, let's save that, guys. Let's check what we've created. Let me reload this. Is this reloading? Oh. Alright, nothing have changed. I know nothing have changed. I don't know why that is like that, guys. So the next thing we're going to start the link, which is the A tag. So for the A tag, I just want to remove the text underneath the A series. For the A tag, there's this text whenever you create a link like this. So for this, we don't really need the line underneath. So I'm just going to use the text decoration none for that. And after that, I want to change the color of our links to the variable colors. So this will be the text colors as well. So I'm just going to save these and go underneath this, and that is it. As you can see, this is looking pretty good. So after this, want to create the styles for the button. Okay, because we're going to be using 2 buttons, going to create a style for it. But before that, let's leave the style for the button now and create a container. So for the container class, we want the weight for the container to be 90% of the weight of the website. But for the max weight, we want that to be 150 pixels. And for the margin, we want that to be 0 auto. So let me just save that, and you see everything comes to the center, just like the design. So I don't want to be using padding, margin for the centering of everything. So I'd rather use the container class to contain the whole text and the whole website to the middle of the website. So we don't want it to stay at the side of the website. If I want that along the way, I won't use the container class for any section I don't want it to contain. I think you understand that. I don't know. So I just go back to the coding. So for this section, because we're going to be using the section tag to wrap each section, so I'm going to use the padding. I want the padding for the top to be 150, so it gives every section gives enough space at the top. So for the right, it will be 0, and for the bottom, I want that to be 50 pixels, and for the left, it will be 0. So we don't have any section for now. Let's check the HTML. We don't have any section for now. So let's just go below this and create for the grade class. I want that to display grade, and I want to justify content. So I want this to be justified space between, because I want to give enough space between them. So it will be space between, no, not space around. This will just give a space around them equally, but I want it to give a space between them. I want them to share equal space. So it will be space between. Oh, sorry for that. I don't know how to spell between. Okay, for that I want everything to be aligned to the center, so I'll just say align items center. Okay, for the grade gap, we're going to use the shortcut GG, which is grade gap. That is kind of weird, guys. So I'm just, for the grade gap, it will be 20%, 20 pixels, not percent, pixels. So I'm just going to save that. I kind of see some changes. You see, the hamburger is right here. Whenever we click the hamburger, the toggles on and off. So you see, because we're going to be using the CSS for this to just toggle this. We are not going to be using the JavaScript. So you can just tell to that extent for you to learn how to use CSS to create a toggle, to create an hamburger menu for your mobile version of your website. Whenever a text is selected according to the finished project I showed you when we started this series for the intro, so you see that this text was selected with another color. So we want to change the selection of our website. Whenever someone select anything, a text or whatever it is. You want to change the color from the default blue. You want that to be kind of yellow, I think. So for that, I'm just going to use this for the mouse. What we want is not here for the mouse. We want the mouse selection. So for the selection, mouse selection, I want the color to be the white. I don't know, maybe this will work. Wow, that works. That is cool. I love VS Code. You see, they do some amazing things just to make me code faster. That is why I stick to VS Code. I'm sorry guys if you're using other code editor. We all have different preferences, so this is just what I like. Alright guys, I want to change the background, so just use the BG and I'll use the yellow. See, I can just type yellow right here and I think that should pop up. Oh, nothing happened. That is weird. For the white, something happened, so let's just say yellow. Okay, that works. You see, that is kind of cool, right? So I'm just gonna copy this from the mouse and I'll paste that again, and I'll remove the mouse. For the Mozilla, I'll just remove that. I'll just save this. So this is for the old other, what is it called, for the other browsers. This will work for other browsers. So that's been done because we're just going to save that, and I want smooth scrolling, so I'm going to use the HTML tag and I'm going to change this to scroll. For the smooth scrolling, scroll behavior, I want that to be smooth. So that is all for the global styling. As you see, not much has changed. So let's start the header. So I'm just going to comment these out. So we have the header. So for the header, I want this to be overflow eating. So I want to hide any overflow. So I have eating, and I want the height to be, I want the height to be 670 pixels. That will be 670 pixels. Let's just check that. So I want it to have this height, which is 670 pixels. So I'll just go underneath this. For the header container, I have the header and we have the container. I want it to be position relative and with the height of auto. I want the height to be auto. Just going to save that, and let's start the menu. The menu right here, let's start that first. So we have menu. For the menu, I want the background color to be transparent. Padding to be 20 pixels top and bottom and 0 pixels left to right. The margin, I want that to be 0. So let me just save, let's save that. And you see, we want this to be 20 pixels top and bottom and 0 pixels left and right. And the margins should be 0 because the menu do have a margin from the right and the left. So the way to remove this margin, you have to make it margin 0. Let's see. They say we have everything to the left right here. So I'll go underneath this and want to start a menu grade. So it will be that grade for the grade style. So for this, I want the grade template, grade CC, which is grade template column. I don't want the repeat. For the grade template, I want this to be auto, so it shares the same weight, the same size. So I want this to be justify content. I want that to be left. And the grade gap, which is GG, I want the grade gap to be 20 pixels. The grade gap will be 20 pixels. I would say this is now sharing the same space among them right here. So let's just go underneath the menu grade and we'll start the menu image, the image which is the logo. So I'll just say img. So for the image, you want the weight of the logo to be 80%, 80 pixels. I don't know what's wrong with me saying that percent. 80 pixels. You see, the image, the logo is kind of small right here, so as you can see. So next, want to start the toggle. The toggle, which is, where's the toggle? So this is the toggle. For the toggle, we want to start the ID. As you can see, we have the ID of toggle right here. So I'll just go back here. I'll just say the ID of toggle, and want to start a menu as well. The menu label, want those to be displayed none. So we don't need them on the desktop version. As you say, they are here and we don't need them right now. We need them on the mobile version of the website. So we just say display none. Alright, and let's save that. Let's check. As you see, there's no toggle right there. So now we have these, the image and the list item, which is why we created these grade template. As you can see, we created the grade template and we include the auto. So both of them share the same size, auto, and we want that to be justify content to the left. So both of them comes to the left. Normally they should go to the right, but we want it to stay to the left. Both of them, both the logo and the list item. So they share the gap of 20 pixels right here, 20 pixels. So let's just go back down right here. I want to create a menu. Want to start a menu nav now. So that will be URL. Another one that want to remove the list style, which is this. I don't know why this is kind of plus list style. That happens if you're using the Mozilla Firefox. So for this, I want the list style to be none, and padding, want to include some padding to the left. Want that to be 0. Oh, sorry, want to remove the padding from the left. Want that to be 0. And now it comes closer to the logo. So now want this to be on a straight line. Don't want it like this. Want it to be on a straight line. So to do that, we're going to start the li. So I'll just say menu nav, and we have the li. So for that, I want to display inline block. Want that to display inline block, and want the margin to the left Want to add some margin to the left, that will be 30 pixels. So let's save that, and you see now they are on a straight line, both of them sharing the same straight line. So that is it for the menu. But for the link, for the list item, so I want to change the color, or should we leave the color like this? Let's change the color. I want to change the menu. Okay, let's say menu. That's too fast. Menu, nav, highlight, and the A tag. So I want to change the color to this 161616. So let's save that. Oh, the color is kind of dark. That is cool. Anyways, so that is it. So now we want to create the showcase area. So for the showcase area, we want the text at the left and the image at the right. So to do that, we go back to the HTML, and I'll go underneath this right here. Underneath the nav, or underneath the menu rather. So create a div with an ID of showcase, and the class of grade. So underneath in that you want to create the div with the class of LT. That is a shortcut for left. That is a shortcut for left. So LT. So for the left, you can see for the left we have the text for the left, and for the right we have the image. So let's include the text for the left. So for the first text we have the text, the H4 with the class of head text, and for that we're going to write website designer. So I'll just say website designer. All right, so go underneath this and need the H1 with the name of John, Patrick. So underneath this, want to include the P tag. I'm going to use the lorem. This will be lorem. Let me just say lorem 15, if that is not too much. Right, let us wrap this up. Lorem 15. Let's save that first and check. Now that is like enough. Let's remove part of it. Let's just remove this part of it. Leave the question mark and measuring. So after that, we go underneath the P. I want to create a button because we're going to be using two buttons. You see, two buttons. One would be the one that is fill, and the other would be the inline, the one that isn't fill. So for that, we're going to use the div. We're going to use the div with a class of btns. Yeah, btns. That is kind of sick. Btns. So we're going to use the A tag for each buttons. So with the class of the first one, we have the class of btn and the class of btn fill. All right, for the A12, that won't be linked to anywhere for now. But for the test, we want that to be contact. me. Yeah, want that to be contact me. So I'm just gonna copy this and I'm gonna paste it here. And for this will be linked to somewhere, because we want this to have the download CV, while this will be linked to the contacts page, but this will be download CV. So we want to actually include a CV or this in the doc. So I'm just going to do that really quickly. Minimize this and okay, and the CV right now it is empty, so I'm gonna copy this. Though this is nothing, it seems it is the website. I just turned to a doc file. So guys, I'm gonna paste this right here. You see we have the doc right there. So let's bring up our HTML. So for this, I'm just going to link this to the doc. See doc/CV docs. So let's save that. Since this is not going to be a few, this is with a border, so I'll just say btn. Okay, this will be BDR, which is border. So I'm going to save this and we're going to change this to download CV. Oh, not CV. CC download CV right here. So I'm going to save this, and for this to work, for this to actually download in HTML, I think we have to include the download right here. And I'm just going to clear this. So we just need this in the middle of your body so it works, since we're using the icon link. So that is it for the right. So let's go underneath the right, which is LT, and create the left, which is the class of RT for the left. So for the left, you just need the image img, and the source will be images/showcase, I think, and the art will be showcase as well. Just use showcase, and I'll just save that. Oh, sorry for that. I'll just save that, guys. So let's check what we've created since. Oh god, the image is a lot big, and because the header is 650 by the height, which is right here, we have 670. Yeah, 670. So the image didn't show, you can't see the whole image. So let's just style this up. So let us start with the styling of the showcase. So I'll just say ID showcase. So want that to be height, want to change the height to inherit. So you just inherit the height. So let's go underneath this and we say ID showcase. The grade. Yeah, I want this to be a grade. As you can see, we have the image, the text, and the image. So we want that to be in grade. That is why we used, I think we used the grade right here. So we use the grade class. So we have the showcase grade. and that I want that to be gray template column. I want that to be the text at the left. I want that to be 14%, but the image at the right, we want that to be auto. So just change the image to auto and the text to 40%. Though nothing happens. Anyways, let's continue. Let's start the left. So we have the showcase, that grade, and we have the left class. So for that one to align self, want that to be start. I want the color to be this, and background color want that to be transparent, and margin top want that to be 70 pixels. So I'll just save that. I see we have it here. You see the selection works. Whenever we select a text, it changes it to yellow. Alright guys, let's go underneath this and start the P. So we have showcase, LT and P tag. Want the font size to be 18 pixels, and go underneath the P. Want to start a showcase right, which is the image. Showcase right, for the showcase right position absolute. Want the position absolute, and because you see the image starts from the top above, as I say, it went way to the top above, so we want to position this absolute. That was the reason why we position the container relative, so we can position the showcase absolute to the container containing the whole header. So now we want the image to go way to the top. For us to do that, we want to position it absolute. So underneath that one from the top, we want that to be 0 pixels. From the right, we want that to be 0 pixels as well. That will be 0. And want it to be index, Z index, to be -1. -1, just say -1. We just save that, and okay, nothing happened yet. This should be working. What's happening? Position absolute 0 pixels, right, 0 pixels. Let's just remove the pixels first and see. Still the same. What's happening? Let me check. Okay, maybe we should change the width of the image first. So we have showcase. Oh, my bad. So guys, it is not working because we didn't use this as right. We use the RT, which is the shortcut I do use for right. That will be RT. My bad guys. So now it's kind of working, but it's taking the whole page. See, it starts from the top, but now it's taking the whole page, so we have to decrease the size. So just say showcase, just say right, img. So now we should change the weight to 500 pixels. I think that should work, and the height should be 100%. Yep, 100% of the header. Oh wow, that works well. That is kind of great, right guys? I love the way this guy smiles. Okay, joke apart, let's get serious. So now if you see, when we take this, nothing change, everything just stacks on each other. So now I want to use the media query to just style it for the mobile version. So I'll just go underneath this and media. Oh, sorry for that. What's wrong? Okay, let's say header, media, and we have the queries. So just go down here and I'll say at media, only screen and mass weight. The mass weight for now will be 1000 pixels, and so let me just take this to the top so you can see. So first one is style the header. I want this overflow to be hidden like always. The height, I want that to be 100% now. So for the 1000 weight, I'm just gonna inspect this and change this to mobile 1000, right? This is 1000 right here. I'm just gonna say showcase. So let's style the showcase.grade. Now let's say showcase right. I want that to be position static. Let's change that to position static. So you see, we change it from the position relative, in which we have position absolute, in which we have earlier, which is position absolute. So now we change it to static. So now it comes to the default position. The default position should be static. So now we change it to the default position, and I want it to be, okay, let me just change this inspect. So guys, I'm gonna do something. All right. Oh, that isn't what I want. Okay, I want this to be to the right. Come in guys. Okay, this is right here, so we can actually see what we're doing here. So now I want this to be to the default way, not from the top anymore, because I wanted to leave the space for the list items right here for the menu. So I want to change the showcase grade as well. Let's change the showcase grade. Showcase.grade. Let's change that to auto. So to be grade template column, I want that to be auto. So to be auto. So let's save that. So the image and the text now shares the same size, which earlier we use it at 40 auto, but now it is auto. So That's for the 1000. I think we're on the 1000 right here to see. So underneath the showcase, I want to style the image as well. I want to change the weight of the image. So we just say showcase RT image img, and want the width to be 400 pixels. Let's save that. Now the text is bigger while the image is a little bit smaller. So now let's go for the 900. So guys, let's go for the 900. I'm just going to copy this below here. I'm gonna close this. So for the 900, want to style the header as well. Let me see. You know what, guys? Let's style the middle query for the 800 instead of 900. The screen size of 800. I want to save this. And I'm going to change the weight for this to 800. And the height, I want that to be, let me just say 1000. Okay, so we have enough height right here. So the weight is 800 now. So let's style that up. We don't want it to look like this, kind of shrinking. So for the showcase, we want the showcase to stack on each other, the text at the top and the image at the bottom. So we just say showcase. Right here you see what I'm talking about. Let me just go to the mobile version of things. So you see we have the image here. We have the text at the top and the image at the bottom. So guys, let's just go underneath this and we'll say showcase. Sorry for that, showcase. Grade. And for the showcase grade, we want this to be grade template column. And we want it to be auto, just auto should do. Alright, you see now it stacks on each auto should do, yeah. So for the showcase, for the image, we want to change the weight. So I'll just say showcase, right, img, want the weight to be 100%. I want it to take up the whole weight and margin from the top. Want that to be 50 pixels and let's save. Let's see. Okay, now the image has taken the whole weight, though the image is in that kind of pixelated, but no. Now this is what I found on the internet, and this guy really looks awesome. This is why we're going to be using him in this tutorial, guys. So next, we have to style the menu because we don't want it to just stay like this. We want it to change it to the hamburger menu on the desktop, on the mobile version of things. So let me just take this to the top and we'll go underneath this. I'm gonna start it. I'm going to comment this up, menu. So let's go underneath here and we have the menu. First, I want the weight to be 100%. So we want the height to be 100% as well. So I'll just save that. So I'll go underneath the menu and I'll start the menu, label, and for that I want this to display block because we want this to stack on each other. We don't want it to look like this. We want it to stack on each other. So this would display block. Okay, display block, and the cursor, we want the cursor to be pointer, and the font size, we want that to be 30 pixels. Color, we want that to be 16, and I'm going to save that. Go underneath this menu, the grade, and this will be just a file, content, space between. Let's save that and see. Now the menus are here. So now the menu label is displayed block and pointer, 30 pixels, and the color is, oh sorry, just change the color. The color is 16. As you see now, it has displayed, because on the desktop version side would make it display none, but on the mobile version now we want it to be displayed as an icon here for the mobile version. So now I want to stack this on each other. Okay, so for that we go for the nav. Want to weight to be 100%. The height, want that to be 0. Z index, want that to be 1. Position, that should be absolute. Top, want that to be 80% from the top, 80 pixels, and from the left that will be 0. Let's save that and see. Okay, nothing changed yet. Background color, the BG, want that to be white. Overflow, want that to be hidden. Overflow hidden. Transition, whenever we click the hamburger, want a little bit of transition. We don't just want it to appear immediately. We want a little bit of transition, so we're just going to use transition all. 0 for the seconds, want that to be 0.5 seconds. Ease, and I'm going to use the WebKit. Transition, or not transform, want it to be transition, and this will be all as well, 0.5 seconds, and ease. So let's save that. Though that has been displayed none, because oh, now the height of this has been 0. You see, the height is now 0, so we can't really see anything right now. We can't see anything, but don't worry guys, we're still going to do it, in which when we click on this, we want it to bring out the menu from the top. So now we're just going to say toggle, using the toggle toggle ID. You just say toggle check plus nav. So now this means first the toggle and then the check, which is the input type, which is check. Now wanted to add it to the nav, so that is why we said plus nav. So when that is clicked, this is what happens whenever the hamburger is clicked. This means whenever we click the hamburger, we want to change the styling for the nav, because default the nav has this styling on the mobile version. So I'm just going to copy this, though we don't need that. The only thing we want to change whenever it is clicked is the height, because the height is 0 and we want to change that to a certain pixels. So we just say height. When that is clicked, we want it to be height 2020 pixels. And for the transition, for the transform, first transition, want to copy that, but now I want this to be for the Opera. For the Opera browser, want that to be transition. For the Opera, I want that to be all. Let me just copy this and paste it here. And for the modes, which is the Mozilla one, the modes as well, transition, I want that to be all. Oh, paste that here. So let's save that. Nothing. Okay, it's working. As you see, now it's working, but now I want to start the list item, because we don't want it to look like this. You see, when we click, you have a little bit of transition right there, as you can see. But sorry guys, but what is there is that I want to start the list items. So guys, let us start the list item instead. So for the list items, we want this to stack on each other, like I said earlier. So let's say menu, nav, and then we start the UL. Padding, we want that to be 0. Margin, we want that to be 0. Then menu, nav, align. For the list item, we want that to display block, and font size, we want it to be 20 pixels, and margin, we want it to be 0. And let's save. See, now it is display block, and the weight of the images, the weight of the text is a little bit big, which is the font size. So now let's go underneath these, and for the mobile version, let's start the over effect whenever we over each list. So just say menu, li, I will say nav, li, over. So we want the background color to change to the bone sienna. Let's save that. You see, whenever we over, we want the background color to change to this color. So now let us include some padding to this. You see, it doesn't have enough padding between each other. Let's include some padding to that. So we just say menu, nav, align, and the A tag, which is the link. So we want to include weight. We want the weight to be 100%. And display inline block. And font padding. We want the padding to be 14 pixels, 20 pixels, and save. Now you see, takes up the old padding, 14. So now this looks good and more better than the first draft. So guys, whenever we want to change the list item text, want to change that to white. So I'll just go underneath these, I'll copy this, don't worry, copy that, we'll paste it here, and we'll say over. So I want to change that, I want to change the color to white. I'm just going to use a white here, save that. So whenever we it turns to white, as you see. So so that is it for the mobile version of the header. So we're going to create a mobile version, the media query for the global styling. We're going to create a media query for that as well. Okay, let's create a media query for these. 500 for the header. I don't think we need, let's change this to 500 and see. Still look good, right? So for the mobile version, like for this test, we want to change the font size. So want to start a global styling for mobile version as well. So I'll just go to the top and okay, this is the global styling. Want to just come underneath here, say, I'll just comment this out, global styling media of queries. So let's save that, and okay, before that you want to start the button. You see we have these two buttons right here. Just take that off, take this off. We have the two buttons right here. You see the contact me and the download CV. Like we can see that right here, contact me and download CV. The fill color and the one without no background color. So we want to go to the first, want to go underneath here and we'll create the button right here. So for the button, we just start underneath here, going to create a few and that and the download CV as well. So I'll just say the class of BTNs. So I want that to be margin top 60 pixels. So let's start the button itself. So that will be BTN. The font size, want that to be 16 pixels. Cursor, pointer, and margin right, want that to be 20 pixels. And let me shift this to the top, and then we want to start the the fill first, the btn fill. So I'll just say btn with the one btn fill. And sometimes we might not use the class btn for the link. You know, for these we used, let's check the HTML. For these we use the link tag, the a tag. Sometimes it might not be the a tag, it might be the button itself. So we just include that here and say button btn fill. Oh, let's remove this. So button btn fill, I want that to be, I want to change the background bg, the background I want that to be burnt sienna. That will be burnt sienna. Okay, let's save that first and see, maybe that is working. Okay, this is working, burnt sienna. So next we want to include some padding, so we just say padding. Top will be 14 pixels and the right and left will be 35 pixels. So we say border. Sorry for the sound you're hearing right now, that's my neighbor. So we say border 1 pixels and solid. For the color, we want that to be white, so just say white. Use the var keyword. Okay, the border is solid white 1 pixels. You might not see that now. So for the color of the text, we want that to be white as well. And border radius, we want that to be 20 pixels and save. Now that is it. It looks good. As you can see, the final website design right here. So that is it. And for this, we want to change the color to the sienna, to the burnt sienna, and with the border underneath, so that will be border bottom. So let's just go underneath this and create the btn fill over and button btn fill over. So now I want to change the background for this on the bg. The background color, I want that to be yellow. Want that to be yellow. Let's just say okay, want that to be yellow. Save that, and as you can see, it changes to yellow whenever we over it. So now let us start the second button, which is btn, that's btn border bdr. So okay, let us start the button itself. So we have the button .btn.bdr. So now we have that. So now want to include a bottom to that. That will be 4 pixels solid, and for the color will be yellow, and the color of the text itself will be the burnt sienna, and the padding bottom to shift the border to the bottom a bit. We are going to be using 5 pixels for that. Oh, this isn't what we want, guys. That is way too much. We want 4 pixels. I wrote 40 pixels. So now that is a little bit better, a lot better, let me say. So that is it for the button. Now we want to start the edit text. Let's check this. I see there's this border at the right, at the left rather. You see there's this border by the left of it. So I want to start that. I want this to be capitalized, and we want to include letter spacing between that as well. So those are the things we're going to include for this edit text. See, we have the edit text right here, the class edit text. So I'll just copy that and go back to the HTML, and underneath this I'll just paste that here. So for the edit text, we want the color to be this charcoal, and border, want it to be border left 3 pixels solid, and the color will be yellow, and padding left, want it to be 10 pixels. Let's see, now that is it, looking better. So padding from the left is 10 pixels, and then we want to include text transform to make it uppercase. Text transform, want this to be uppercase, and letter spacing, want it to be 5 pixels. Oh, that's not 5 pixels will be too much. Want that to be dot 5 pixels, which is also 0.5 pixels, and display inline block. Save that, and that is it. Looking great. Let's see. Okay, now it looks good even on the mobile version of it. Let's say oh, now this, I don't want this. Let's inspect, and I want this to be mobile version. So on the mobile version it still looks great. This 500, let's make this 480 instead. Still look great. So I want to style the global styling on the mobile version using the media query. So we're going to style this. We don't want the text to be as this big on mobile version, you understand? So I just go down here and go to the global styling for the media query. So first we're going to write the media query wrapper. So I'll just go down here, instead of writing it, just copy this, copy this, and then you should paste it here. Paste, then I'll close this. Oh, close this. Okay, now in this, want to first style the container on 1000 pixels. Want to change the container to, want to change the weight to 98%. Save that, and I'll copy this, paste it here, and for 900 pixels, we want the container to be 95. So you see, it takes the old weight. On the mobile version, want it to take the old weight. Okay, so now let us style the fonts. So for the font, we want that to be on the mobile version of it all. So change this to 500. So first, the container, I want the container on the 500 to be 90%. Or now it gives more weight. So after that, we want the section. The sections want that to be padding 50% top and bottom and 0% left and right. And for the H1, we want the font size to be 3 EM. Let's save that and see. Now you see the font size is a bit smaller, 3 EM. So I'm just going to copy this and go underneath this. Paste that. Paste that. Paste that. Okay. Now I'm going to change this to 2 H2. For the H2, I want that to be 2 EM. The H2 will be 2 EM. While for the H3, I want the font size to be 1.3. 1.3. And for the H4, want this font size to be 1 EM. And for the H5, it was up to H5. For the H5, we want this to be 0.9 EM. So we're going to save that, and that is all for that. So this is all for this tutorial, for this part 1 series rather. So this is all we've created for the part 1. As I say, it is responsive. Let's just change this to 400 so you guys can see it is fully responsive. I will change this to let's say the iPhone 12. You see, it is also responsive. It is responsive on all mobile version. As you see, the menu as well is working perfectly. So that is it for this tutorial, for this part 1. So if you know you enjoyed the part 1 and you also would like to watch this series to the end, you want to create your own personal portfolio, I will be your guide on that. Don't worry. So you can just go to the next tutorial at the top right here. So you can just click that and watch the next tutorial, or you can wait to the end to see the next tutorial. In the description below too, I'm going to link the next tutorial right there. So you want to watch that for the part 2 of this series. So for the part 2, we're going to create the about section and the video right here. So for the part 2, let me just open this. So for the part 2, this is what we're going to be creating. The about section right here and the video section right here. So this is what we're going to be creating. This video will also help you to showcase yourself, in which you can just use the video to tell more to your client or your employers about you. Video tells more stories. So that is why a portfolio should have a video section in which you talk about yourself. But if you know you don't want to show yourself, or you don't want to do a video, you can just remove that. So that is all for the part 2. That is what we're going to be creating. So guys, thanks for watching to this extent. I really appreciate your time trying to build yourself. So that is all. So I'll see you. Peace out. Bye.